Hello, my friend. Welcome to the VUS Learning English podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving your time today. This audiobook is for you. It is for every learner who wants to speak English with confidence. It is for every dreamer who wants to travel, study, work, and connect with the world. Learning English is not always easy. Sometimes it feels slow. Sometimes it feels hard. But remember this, every small step you take brings you closer to fluency. And today, you are taking that step. So listen with your heart, practice with courage, and believe in yourself. Because you can do this. You can learn English. You can change your life. Don't forget to follow and share this podcast, VU's Learning English podcast, with your friends. Together we will learn. Together we will grow. And together we will succeed. Let's begin your journey now. Introduction. This audiobook will help you learn English in a simple and natural way. If you are listening to this, you already know English is more than just a school subject. English is a key that can open doors to travel, jobs, friendships, and personal growth. Learning English can change your life, but let's be honest. Learning English is not always easy. Sometimes it feels hard, confusing, or too much to handle. Maybe you studied English in school. You learned some words and grammar rules. Yet, when you try to speak, the words don't come out. You feel nervous and you get stuck. Or maybe you can read English, but when people speak fast, it sounds like one long blur of sound. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Many learners feel the same way, and that is exactly why this audiobook was made for you. This is not a textbook. It is not a boring grammar class. And it is not just a list of words to memorize. This audiobook is your guide to real English fluency. You will learn in a way that works with your brain, not against it. We will build your English skills step by step with listening, speaking, and thinking in English. Instead of only studying English, you will use English. In this audiobook, I will speak to you in clear, simple English. Sometimes I will speak slowly, other times at a natural speed. This will train your ear to understand different speeds and accents. Remember, English is like music. It has rhythm and tone. Soon you will start to hear the music of English, and everything will become easier. Who is this audiobook for? This audiobook is for anyone who wants to speak English confidently. Maybe you are a beginner and need a friendly place to start. Maybe you have studied English for years but still do not feel fluent. Or maybe you can understand some English but are afraid to speak. No matter your level, if you want to use English in real life and not just pass tests, this audiobook is for you. How this audiobook is different. Traditional English lessons often focus on grammar rules and memorizing words. You spend a lot of time learning about English, but not enough time using English. You might know the rules, but still feel shy or scared to talk. This audiobook takes a different path. We focus on communication, confidence, and building habits that make English a part of your life. Here is what you will find in this audiobook. Listening. Train your ears to understand real spoken English even when it is fast. Speaking. Learn to speak English out loud from day one without fear. Thinking in English. Stop translating in your head and think directly in English. Vocabulary. Build the right vocabulary using the 80-20 rule, the most useful words first. Grammar. Learn grammar in a natural way without heavy rules and pressure. Pronunciation. Improve your pronunciation so others can understand you easily. Motivation and habits. Stay motivated and practice English a little every day. Immersion. Surround yourself with English daily, even if you are not in an English-speaking country. Having fun. Discover creative ways to enjoy learning English so it never feels boring. Each chapter will focus on one of these areas. They are arranged in a logical order so you can build one skill on top of another. We will start with listening, then speaking, and continue through each skill. By the end, you will have a complete toolkit for learning English. The tone of this audiobook is motivational and friendly. I will be with you in every chapter, encouraging you and giving you practical tips. You are not on this journey alone. Millions of people around the world are learning English right now, just like you. We are all in this together. Now let's get started on this journey to English fluency together. Take a deep breath, smile, and get ready to enjoy learning English step by step. You can do this, and I am here to help you along the way. Chapter 1. Your English journey begins here. Congratulations on taking the first step in your journey to English fluency. Learning a language is not just about memorizing words or grammar. It is about becoming a new version of yourself, someone who can express ideas in another language and connect with people from different places. From today, your English journey has officially begun. Why learn English? Why do you want to learn English? Take a moment to think about it. For many people, learning English means more opportunities. It can help you get a better job or go to a good school. For others, it is about confidence, being able to speak in meetings, travel without fear, or make friends around the world. Maybe for you, it is all of these reasons. English is a global language. More than 1 billion people speak English worldwide. It is the language of business, science, travel, entertainment, and the internet. When you learn English, you open the door to all these new experiences. Behind that door are new people, new places, and a new future for you. What is fluency? Let's talk about fluency. What does it really mean to be fluent in English? Fluency is not about knowing every single English word. It is not about speaking exactly like a native speaker or having perfect grammar. Fluency means you can communicate easily. You understand others, and they understand you. You can express your thoughts without stopping or feeling afraid. In short, fluency means freedom, the freedom to use English to live your life. Here is some good news. You do not need to spend years to feel fluent. With the right approach, you can feel more confident after just a few months, even a few weeks. Remember, you do not need to be perfect to be fluent. You only need to be able to communicate. People won't mind if you make some mistakes, as long as they can understand you. So let's make it clear. You do not have to wait for someday to speak English. You can start now. What holds learners back? If English has felt difficult for you, it is not because you are bad at languages. It might be because of the way you were taught. Many traditional methods of learning English make it harder than it needs to be. For example, too much grammar. Some courses focus on complicated grammar rules that you rarely use in real life. Long vocabulary lists. You might memorize lists of words that have no context and that you soon forget. Not enough listening. Maybe you read a lot, but did not practice listening to real spoken English. Fear of mistakes. You might worry so much about being correct that you become afraid to speak at all. Translating in your head. You try to translate everything from your native language before speaking, which slows you down. These old ways are frustrating and slow. They make you good at taking tests, but not at having real conversations. You might know the rules or spellings, but when it's time to speak or listen to real English, you feel lost or nervous. The good news is that there is a better way to learn, and this audiobook will show it to you. A better way to learn: the new mindset. Our method focuses on 3 simple but powerful principles for learning English. Mindset. First, before you open your mouth, you must open your mind. Your attitude and beliefs about learning are very important. If you tell yourself, "I'm too old to learn," or "I'm not good at languages," then learning will be very hard. But if you change those thoughts to, "I can improve a little each day," or "mistakes help me learn," then you will unlock your brain's ability to learn faster. Fluency begins with believing in yourself. Daily practice. The secret to fluency is not talent, it is consistency. Learning a language is like exercising a muscle. If you practice English every day, even for 10 to 15 minutes, you will grow stronger and more fluent. It is better to practice a little every day than to study for hours only once a week. Small daily actions build great skill over time. Real English use. You won't become fluent by only reading sentences from a textbook like "the cat is under the table." You learn by using English in real life. This means listening to real conversations, even if they are fast. It means speaking out loud every day, even if you only know simple sentences. It means learning common, useful phrases like "how are you?" or "I need help," instead of rare words you'll never use. The more you engage with real English that you enjoy movies, songs, stories, the faster you will improve. Remember, mistakes are not your enemy. In fact, mistakes are essential for learning. Every time you make a mistake, you have a chance to learn and do better next time. If you never make mistakes, it means you are not trying new things or pushing yourself. So, do not be afraid to speak or write because of mistakes. Each mistake shows that you are stretching your abilities, and that is a good thing. Imagine your success. Take a moment to imagine your future self. Picture yourself speaking English fluently. You might be having a friendly conversation without any hesitation. Or maybe you are watching a movie in English without needing subtitles. You could be passing a job interview in English or traveling and talking to locals easily. How do you feel in that picture? You probably feel proud, excited, and free. This vision is not just a dream, it can become real with time and practice. Keep this picture in your mind as motivation. This is your goal, and every minute you practice brings you closer to it. To reach that goal, you need 2 things: a clear reason, your why, and a daily system, your how. Think about why you want to be fluent, your personal motivation. Then commit to a simple daily practice, your plan to improve step by step. This audiobook will help you with both. You might have tried to learn English before, and maybe it was difficult. Perhaps you even stopped for a while or felt stuck. That is okay. Now you have a new approach and a guide to help you. Every fluent English speaker in the world started as a beginner, just like you. The only difference is they kept going. They did not quit, and you will keep going too. Your first step: do this now. Let's do something simple right now to start your journey strong. Please say this sentence out loud. I am learning English and I will become fluent. Go ahead, actually say it. Great. Now smile. You just spoke English with confidence. That sentence you said is a promise to yourself. Keep that positive feeling. Believing in yourself is the starting point of everything. From today, promise yourself that you will spend at least a few minutes each day with English. Listen to one chapter of this audiobook every day, or practice a little with the exercises. Consistency is more important than doing a lot at once. Even if you only study 10 minutes in a day, if you do it every day, you will make progress. Remember, you do not need to be perfect. You just need to be persistent. Keep going. Fluency is not far away. It has already begun the moment you decided to start. I am here with you in each chapter, guiding you and cheering you on. Now, you have built a strong mindset to learn English. In the next chapter, we will begin with one of the most powerful skills you can develop: listening. You will learn how to train your ears to understand real English, even when it is fast or unclear. Let's get started. Chapter 2. Training your ears how to understand fast English. One of the most common problems English learners have is this: I can understand English in a textbook, but I can't understand native speakers in real life. Do you feel that way? Many learners do. Native speakers often seem to speak very fast. The words blend together. It might feel like one big sound, and you cannot tell where one word ends and the next begins. If this is happening to you, don't worry. You are definitely not alone. In this chapter, we will fix that. We will train your ears to recognize real spoken English, the kind you hear in conversations, movies, or TV shows. Not slow classroom English and not the very clear audio from language CDs, but natural, everyday English. It might be fast, but you can learn to understand it. Your brain just needs the right kind of practice. Why does real English sound so fast? Have you ever heard English speakers and thought, are they even speaking English? It can feel too quick. Here is why. Native speakers use something called connected speech. This means when they talk, they connect words together and often drop or change sounds. For example, the question, "What are you doing?" in writing has 4 clear words, but when spoken quickly, it might sound like, "What you doing?" or "What you doing?" Another example, "I'm going to eat," often sounds like "I'm gonna eat." "Do you want to?" can sound like "Do you wanna?" These are normal reductions in casual speech. If you try to hear every individual letter or sound, it will be hard. But once you train your ears to catch the patterns and common combinations, everything becomes easier. Think of it like listening to a song. At first, you might not catch the lyrics, but after a few listens, you start to understand the words and melody together. Listening is a trainable skill. Listening is not something you are just good or bad at naturally. It is a skill, and like any skill, you can train it. The more you listen to English, especially active listening, the better your brain gets at processing the sounds. Over time, you will understand English faster and more accurately. It is important to know the difference between passive and active listening. Passive listening is when English is just background noise, for example, when you have a song or radio on but you are not really paying attention. This can help a little, but it is not the most effective way to improve. Active listening is when you fully focus on what you hear. You might repeat what is said, write it down, or think about it. In this chapter, we will use active listening exercises. These will help you hear English more clearly. catch words in fast speech, and build a strong foundation for speaking. By the end of this chapter, you will be able to understand spoken English better, even without subtitles. Recognize common phrases by their sound, not just by how they look on paper. Catch the music of English, the rhythm and intonation that native speakers use. Feel more confident when listening, which will also help your speaking. Let's get started with some powerful listening techniques. Step 1. The loop method. Listen in short loops. One of the best ways to train your ears is a technique called the loop method. Here's how it works. Choose a short audio clip. Find a very short audio or video clip in English, about 10 to 30 seconds long. It could be a line from a movie, a short dialogue, or a clip from this audiobook. Listen several times. Play the clip 3 to 5 times in a row. Do not pause it, and try not to worry if you don't catch everything the first time. Just listen, write down, or repeat. After a few listens, try to write down what you heard, or say it out loud. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Guess the words from the sounds. Check with subtitles or transcript. Now, listen again, but with the subtitles or a transcript if available. See how much you got right. Notice where the speaker connected words or dropped sounds. Repeat out loud. Finally, repeat the sentences out loud yourself. Copy the speaker's rhythm and pronunciation. Try to match the way they talk. Let's try a simple example of how this might work. Imagine the audio clip is someone saying, "I'm going to get some coffee. Do you want anything?" The first time you listen, you might only catch a few words. It could sound like, "I'm gonna get some coffee. Want anything?" Maybe you missed the "do you" part because it was quick. After listening 3 or 4 times, your brain starts to adjust. You realize they are saying, "Do you want anything?" But it sounded like, "Do you want anything?" as one phrase. By checking the transcript or subtitles, you confirm the full sentence. Then you repeat it out loud. "I'm going to get some coffee. Do you want anything?" Trying to imitate the natural, fast style. By doing this loop method regularly, you train your ears to catch common patterns. You start hearing English in chunks of words that go together, rather than isolated single words. This is exactly how native speakers speak in groups of words. Your listening will improve greatly with this practice. Step 2. Shadowing. Be the speaker's echo. Another excellent technique to improve listening is called shadowing. You will hear more about shadowing in the speaking chapter, but it is useful for listening too. Shadowing means listening to someone speaking English and immediately repeating what they said, trying to copy their voice like an echo or a shadow. For example, you play a sentence, "It's a beautiful day today." The moment you hear it, you say, "It's a beautiful day today" yourself, copying the speaker's tone and speed. Why does this help your listening? Because to repeat it, you must pay close attention to every sound. It forces you to listen actively. Even if you miss a word, you will notice that and focus more next time. Try shadowing for a few minutes each day with any English audio you like, a YouTube video, a podcast, or this audiobook. You can pause after each sentence, repeat it, and then play the next. If it's too fast, you can slow down the audio if possible. Shadowing connects your ears with your speaking muscles. It helps you hear details like pronunciation and intonation, and it also practices those sounds with your own voice. It's a 2-in-1 exercise for listening and speaking. Even 5 minutes of shadowing practice per day can make a big difference. Over time, you will notice you can catch words more quickly, and your pronunciation will improve as well. Remember, when shadowing, focus on being accurate with the sounds, not on understanding every word's meaning. This is ear training. Step 3. Listen to what you love. Listening practice does not have to be boring. In fact, it should not be. The best way to keep improving is to listen to English that you enjoy. If you like music, listen to English songs. If you like sports, watch interviews or videos about sports in English. Do you enjoy comedy? Find some English stand-up comedy or funny videos even if you don't catch every joke at first. When you listen to content that interests you, you will pay more attention and learn faster. Also, try to make listening a habit. For example, you can listen to a short English podcast or a YouTube video every day while you have breakfast or while you commute. Even if you only understand 50 at first, that's okay. Every day you will understand a little more. If something is too hard, you can start with subtitles on or use simplified content like English learning podcasts made for beginners. Then gradually challenge yourself with more natural content. The key is consistent exposure. Your daily listening routine. 15 minutes here is a simple daily exercise plan to supercharge your listening skills. Minutes 1 to 5. Choose a short audio-video clip, 10 to 30 seconds. Listen to it without subtitles or text. Focus on catching the general idea. Minutes 6 to 10. Shadow the same clip. Play a line, pause, and repeat it out loud. Try to copy the sounds and rhythm exactly. Minutes 11-15. Now listen again with subtitles or a transcript. Read along to see what you missed. Write down 1 or 2 new words or phrases from the clip. Say them out loud. This routine is short, but very effective. In just 15 minutes, you practice listening, speaking, and new vocabulary all together. If you do this every day, your ears will get stronger and sharper. You will start to understand English not word by word, but in natural phrases. Final thoughts on listening. Remember that listening is an active process. The more you train, the more you will hear. Be patient with yourself. At first, real English can sound like a blur, but each day it will become clearer. Use short clips, listen repeatedly, shadow frequently, and focus on real English content. Your brain will adapt. What once sounded fast and strange will soon sound clear and familiar. Your hard work and listening will pay off in every other area of English. When you can understand better, you will also speak better. Now that your ears are getting tuned to English, it's time to work on finding your own English voice. In the next chapter, we'll tackle speaking how to start speaking English confidently, even if you make mistakes. Let's move on and find your voice in English. Chapter 3. Speak first, perfect later. Building confidence to talk. Welcome to Chapter 3. So far, you have worked on listening. Now it's time for one of the biggest steps, speaking. For many learners, speaking English out loud is scary. You might worry about making mistakes or sounding silly. Have you ever held back from speaking because you thought, "I'm not ready yet," or "my English isn't good enough"? If so, this chapter is for you. Here is an important truth. Fluency begins when you start speaking, not when you have perfected every word or sentence. In other words, you cannot wait until you feel perfect to speak. You become fluent by speaking, even when it's not perfect. So in this chapter, we will destroy that fear and build your confidence to open your mouth and use English. Why you shouldn't wait to speak. Think about how children learn their language. Do they wait until they can form perfect sentences before they start talking? No. Babies and children start making sounds, then words, then short sentences without worrying about mistakes. They babble, they try, and they learn as they go. Sometimes their grammar is wrong or words are unclear, but they don't care. They just keep talking, and naturally, they get better. You can learn in a similar way. You don't have to be a child to use the same idea. The key is to create a safe space for yourself to speak freely, without fear of judgment. Below are 5 steps to help you build speaking confidence from day 1. Talk to yourself every day. Yes, you read that right. Speaking to yourself in English is a great practice. You might feel a bit silly at first, but it really works. You can do this anytime, anywhere. For example, you can describe what you are doing. I am brushing my teeth. Now I am going to work. Or you can express your thoughts. I'm a little tired today. I'm proud I listened to English today. By doing this, you train your brain to think in English. More on that in the next chapter. No pressure, no judgment, just daily practice anywhere, anytime. Shadow with your voice echo technique. In the last chapter, you learned about shadowing for listening. Now use it for speaking practice. Listen to a native speaker say something from a video or audio and try to repeat it immediately, copying their pronunciation and tone. This connects your ears and mouth. It helps you get used to speaking with natural rhythm. Even just 5 minutes of shadowing practice a day can improve your speaking fluency and pronunciation because you are training your mouth to make the sounds of English right after hearing them. Record your voice. Many learners dislike hearing recordings of themselves speaking English. It might feel uncomfortable, but recording your voice is one of the best tools to build confidence. Why? Because it lets you actually hear your progress over time. Try this. Choose a simple sentence or a short paragraph and record yourself speaking it in English. If you have a native speaker's recording of the same text, compare your pronunciation with theirs. Note any differences, then try again. After a week or 2 of practice, record the same thing and see if you've improved. You will likely sound more natural and clear. These recordings show you that you are getting better, which boosts your confidence. Practice speaking even without a partner. Of course, it's great to practice with English-speaking friends or a tutor, but even if you have no partner, you can still practice speaking. For instance, read a short story or article aloud. Or watch a short video and then try to summarize it out loud in your own words. You can also use language learning apps that allow you to repeat phrases and get feedback, or even simple voice-enabled AI assistants where you can talk in English. Another idea is to role-play common dialogues by yourself. A. Hi, how are you? B. I'm good, thank you. It might feel funny, but these techniques get your mouth moving. If you can speak to yourself, you'll be more confident speaking with others when the time comes. Focus on communication, not perfection. This is very important. The goal of speaking is to share information or feelings with someone, not to say every word perfectly. Even native speakers make mistakes or change their sentences midway. So, if you are speaking and you forget a word, don't panic. Use other words to explain it. For example, imagine you forgot the word knife. You could say, the thing you use to cut food. Or use your hands and pretend to cut something. The person listening will likely understand. This is successful communication. The point is to make yourself understood. Grammar rules or big vocabulary mean little if you are too afraid to speak. So, be brave and speak up. If you make an error and you know it, you can quickly correct yourself or just continue. Most of the time, people will understand what you meant. Now that we've covered these steps, let's put them into a simple daily routine. Your daily speaking practice. 10 minutes. Here is a quick routine to build your speaking confidence every day. Minutes 1 to 3. Talk to yourself. Describe your day or what you're doing at that moment in English. Minutes 4 to 6. Shadow, a short clip or sentence. Listen and repeat immediately, copying the pronunciation. Minutes 7 to 9. Record yourself saying a sentence or a few lines. If possible, compare it to a native speaker's version. Notice any improvements or things to adjust. Minute 10. Take a moment and smile. Congratulate yourself because you spoke English today. This routine only takes 10 minutes, but it practices many important skills. Most importantly, it gets you used to speaking English regularly. You don't need hours of practice at once. You need a little bit of courage every day. Overcoming fear and shyness. You might still wonder, what if I make mistakes when I speak? The answer, you will, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay, it's necessary. Remember, mistakes are not a sign of failure. They are a sign of growth. Every fluent speaker out there, even those who speak multiple languages, made plenty of mistakes along the way. The difference is they didn't stop speaking. They didn't let mistakes silence them. So the next time you make a mistake while speaking, try to smile and think, "Great, I learned something." Then continue talking. Another common worry is, what if people judge me or laugh at me when I speak English? The truth is, most people will not judge you. In fact, many will be impressed that you are speaking a second language at all. If you ever meet someone who teases you or is not patient, remember that this is their problem, not yours. Those people are not worth your energy. Focus on the positive. There are many friendly, supportive people who will appreciate your effort to speak their language, and every time you speak, you are getting better and braver. Final words on speaking. Speaking is at the heart of becoming fluent. Yes, it can feel scary at first. Your heart might beat fast, and you might worry about getting everything right. But with each sentence you speak, you become a little stronger and a little more fluent. Do not wait until you feel 100 ready, or until your English is perfect, whatever that means. Start now. Speak with the English you have today, and it will grow and improve with every conversation. Remember our motto, speak first, perfect later. It's more important to say something than to say it perfectly. Every word you say in English is a step closer to fluency. Keep taking those steps, and soon you'll be running. Now that you are speaking more freely, we will move on to the next powerful skill, thinking in English. In the next chapter, you'll learn how to train your mind to think directly in English instead of translating. This will make your speaking even faster and more natural. Let's continue on our journey. Chapter 4. How to think in English. Stop translating. Let me ask you something. When you speak or try to speak English, do you find yourself thinking in your native language first and then translating into English in your head? For example, you have a thought in your language, then you try to convert it to English word by word. If you do this, you are definitely not alone. This is a very common habit among English learners. However, it is also one of the biggest things that can slow you down on the road to fluency. In this chapter, we are going to break that habit. You will learn how to train your brain to think directly in English, just like fluent speakers do. This might sound difficult, but don't worry. With practice, it becomes natural. Learning to think in English will help you speak faster, make fewer mistakes, and feel more confident. It will truly make your brain start to operate in English mode. Why translating in your head slows you down? Translating every thought from your native language into English is like having an extra heavy weight on your back when trying to run. It slows you down a lot. Imagine you want to say, "I'm hungry." If you think in your native language first, your mind has to do this. Think of the sentence in your language, for example, in French, "Je suis faim," or in Spanish, "Tengo hambre." Find the English words for that "I am hungry." Check if the grammar is right. Am I supposed to say "I hungry" or "I am hungry"? Then finally say it in English, "I'm hungry." All these steps take time and mental energy. That's why when you translate, you often pause or get confused. It's easy to lose the flow of conversation this way. Some learners even lose confidence because they can't translate fast enough. On the other hand, when you think in English, it all becomes much faster and smoother. You have the thought directly in English and you speak it. No more mental detours. Your brain isn't doing double work. This is like driving a car with a clear road ahead instead of stopping at every turn to check a map. How children learn and think in language. Think about how children learn their first language. They don't translate between languages because they only know one language at that time. When a child is thirsty, they might just think milk or water in their native tongue and say it. They are not translating from anything else. They learn by seeing and hearing the language around them and absorbing it. Even before they can form full sentences, they understand words directly. For example, a toddler might hear apple and connect it with the image or taste of an apple. They aren't thinking of a translation. They just know apple is that red fruit. This is what we want to achieve, not just speaking English, but experiencing and processing life in English. The good news is you don't have to be a child to start thinking in English. You can train your brain to do it at any age. It takes practice, but it's absolutely possible. Stages of thinking in English. Let's break down the process of learning to think in English into 3 stages. Stage 1. Think with words and pictures, no translation. At this stage, you connect individual English words directly to things, feelings, and ideas. Instead of linking the English word to a word in your language, link it to an image or concept. For example, when you hear the word apple, don't think of the word in your native language. Instead, picture a round red fruit. Maybe imagine the taste of a sweet apple. When you hear happy, imagine a smiling face and the feeling of joy, not the translation in your language. By doing this, each English word starts to live in your mind on its own, without a translation bridge. Stage 2. Think in simple phrases. Now, you move on to basic phrases and sentences. These are short, common sentences that you use in daily life. Examples: I'm tired. It's a good idea. Where is the bus stop? Treat these phrases as single pieces or blocks of language. When you want to use them, bring up the whole phrase in your mind instead of building it by translating. For instance, If you often say, "I'm on my way" when you're heading somewhere, practice just knowing that phrase as one unit of meaning in English. The more of these useful phrases you have, the easier it will be to express yourself without translating. Stage 3. Think in full English internal dialogue. Finally, you begin to process life in English. You wake up and think, "I need to shower." You see someone and think, "She looks happy today." You walk outside and think, "It's too hot." You're not translating your experience of the world into English. This is fluency, when English isn't just a language you studied, but is a language you think in. Reaching this stage might take time, but every little step you take towards it will improve your fluency. And even before you fully get there, working on thinking in English will make speaking much easier. Techniques to train your brain to think in English. Now, let's go over some practical techniques you can use every day to practice thinking in English. You don't need a classroom or a partner for these. You can do them on your own in your mind throughout the day. Name things around you. Wherever you are, look around and label objects in English in your mind or out loud. Example: in your room, you might note phone, table, window, bag, shoes, blue sky, big truck, loud music. If you're outside, you might think tree, car, road, clouds. Do it often. Over time, your brain will stop needing the translation step. Phone, not the word in your native language. Narrate your actions. Phrase thinking. Talk to yourself in English as you move through your day. Examples: I'm brushing my teeth. I'm making coffee. I need to leave in 10 minutes. If you're tired, you might think, I'm tired today. By narrating your day, you force your brain to fetch the English words for everyday actions. This helps move your internal dialogue into English. Imagine short conversations. You can play little pretend dialogues in your head. For example, imagine you will meet an English-speaking friend later. You can plan out the conversation in your mind. Friend: how was your weekend? Me: it was great. I went to the park. Visualize it. Or if you're nervous about a real conversation like at work or on the phone, practice it in your head first. It's like a mental rehearsal in English. Keep a simple English diary or journal. Each day, write a few sentences in English about your day or about your thoughts. For example, today I started a new job. I felt a little nervous in the morning, but later I was okay. I met 2 new colleagues. Writing is slow thinking. It gives you time to find words in English and form sentences. It reinforces thinking in English because you're expressing your own life in English words. And don't worry about mistakes, this diary is for you. Switch your inner voice. Pay attention to the voice in your head, your internal monologue. We all have one. When you catch it talking in your native language, try to switch it to English for a bit. Let's say you're walking and thinking about what to cook for dinner in your native language. Stop, rethink that in English. What should I eat tonight? Maybe I'll cook some rice and vegetables. At first, you'll only catch yourself sometimes. But as you practice, you'll start automatically thinking some thoughts in English. These techniques are like exercises for your brain. The more you do them, the more your mind will default to English. Your daily Think in English routine, 10 minutes. Try this short routine each day to strengthen your English thinking. Minutes 1 to 2. Look around you and name objects in English out loud or in your head. Example: chair, table, computer, cup. Minutes 3 to 5. Narrate your current actions or routine in English. Example, I'm preparing my breakfast. I have 2 eggs and some bread. Minute 6 to 7. Close your eyes and imagine a short conversation in English. It could be you greeting a friend and talking about the day. Visualize it like a mini movie in your mind. Minutes 8 to 10. Write a few sentences in an English diary or a note app about how your day is going or something you are thinking about. Then read it back to yourself. By following this routine, you practice the key techniques daily. You're training your mind to switch into English mode for a little while each day. At first, it may feel strange or difficult, but it gets easier with time. Even if you make mistakes or feel you're thinking slowly in English, that's okay. You are building a new habit, and that takes time. Final thoughts on thinking in English. Be patient with yourself. Changing the language of your thoughts is like learning to ride a bicycle a new way. It will be wobbly at first, but soon you will find your balance. Even if you start with just a few words or phrases in English in your thoughts, that's a success. Those will grow into full sentences and then into continuous English thinking. Remember, every time you choose to think in English instead of your native language, you're rewiring your brain. That's powerful. You're not only learning English, you're beginning to live in English. Keep practicing these techniques daily. You're training your mind to be bilingual, and with each practice, you're a step closer to true fluency. Now that you know how to think in English, let's move on to expanding your vocabulary. In the next chapter, we will learn which English words and phrases to focus on first for the biggest impact, the 80-20 rule of vocabulary. Fluency is not about knowing all the words, it's about knowing the right words. Let's discover what those are and how to learn them effectively. Chapter 5. The 80-20 rule of vocabulary. Learn what matters most. Many English learners ask, how many words do I need to know to be fluent? The answer might surprise you. Did you know that English has over 170,000 words in the dictionary? That's a huge number. But here is the good news. You do not need to know anywhere near all of them to speak fluently. In fact, you probably don't even need to know 10,000 words. Why? Because in everyday life, we use only a small fraction of those words again and again. This idea is often explained by the 80-20 rule, also called the Pareto principle. It means that roughly 80 of your results come from 20 of your effort. In language learning, we can say 80 of everyday English uses just 20 of the vocabulary. Let that sink in for a moment. Think about it. If you focus on learning the most common and useful English words, you will get to fluency faster with less effort. You don't need to waste time memorizing rare words that you'll hardly ever hear or use. Instead, you can concentrate on the words that will appear in most conversations. Why you shouldn't learn every word. Many learners make the mistake of trying to learn as many words as possible without thinking about which words they really need. They might try to memorize long vocabulary lists, download hundreds of flashcards, or force themselves to learn 50 new words in a day. Often those lists include very uncommon words like names of exotic animals or technical terms they will rarely use. For example, words like wombat, a type of animal, or harpoon, a hunting tool, or catastrophe, a big disaster. While it's okay to know these words, they are not going to help you in a normal everyday chat. What usually happens to people who learn random difficult words? They feel overwhelmed by the amount of vocabulary. They forget most of the words because there was no context or frequent practice. And worst of all, despite knowing many hard words, they still struggle to hold a simple conversation because the common words slip away. This shows an important point. Knowing a word is not the same as being able to use it in conversation, and not all words are equally useful. So what should you do? Focus on what matters most. Think about 3 factors when choosing which words to learn. Frequency. How often is this word used in everyday English? Words like food or house are very common, whereas harpoon is not. Relevance. Is this word useful for you and your life? If you are a student, exam might be relevant. If you love cooking, words like boil or recipe are relevant. Context. Have you seen or heard this word in real sentences? Words learned in context through stories, movies, etc. stick better and are easier to use correctly. Step 1. Start with the most common words. Language experts and studies have shown that a small number of words make up a large part of everyday speech. For example, the 100 most common English words make up about 50 of all English text in books, subtitles, etc., and the 1,000 most common words cover around 85 of daily conversations. This means if you master just the top 1,000 words, you'll understand most of what people say in normal situations. What are these common words? They are simple words like go, come, want, need, eat, drink, good, bad, today, tomorrow, where, when, how, and so on. These may seem very basic, but they are the building blocks of the language. You use them all the time. So if you haven't mastered them yet, make sure you do. If you have, then build on them by combining them into phrases. You can find lists of the top 500 or 1,000 English words online, or use a vocabulary app that is based on word frequency. However, don't just rote memorize these words in isolation. It's much better to learn them in context. For example, if one of the top words is better, learn it as part of a phrase or sentence. I feel better today. This way you learn not just the word, but how it's used. Step 2. Learn phrases, not just single words. We touched on this in the last point. Always try to learn words as part of phrases or sentences, not by themselves. Why? Because English words can have multiple meanings or change meaning depending on how they're used. If you only learn the single word, you might not know how to use it correctly. Take the word get, for example. Get by itself might be defined as obtain or receive, but in reality, get is used in many phrases. Get up, meaning to wake up from bed. Get in, meaning to enter a car or room. Get out, meaning to leave. Get along, meaning to be friendly or compatible. Get it, meaning to understand. Get over it, meaning to recover or move on. Just learning get, receive would not help you understand these everyday phrases, but learning the phrases gives you a lot of power in the language. Another example, you might learn the word delicious and know it means tasty. That's good, but it's even better to learn it in a sentence. For instance, this soup is delicious. Now you see how it's used in context. You know the grammar around it like the linking verb is. Next time you eat something you like, you can use the whole sentence, this is delicious, without hesitation. So whenever you learn a new word, also learn an example sentence or phrase with it. Your brain will remember the word faster, and you will know how to use it correctly when speaking. Step 3. Personalize your vocabulary. Everyone has different needs in English. Think about your own life, work, studies, and interests. What words are important for you? If you are an IT professional, words like server, database, or software might be very useful. If you love photography, you might want to know words like camera, lens, upload. If you're a parent, words like diaper, stroller, or homework might be part of your daily vocabulary. Meanwhile, if those things are not part of your life, you don't need to prioritize those words. A farmer and a software engineer might have very different useful vocabularies beyond the basics, and that's okay. So, make a list of topics you often talk or think about, then make sure you know the common English words for those topics. This way, you're learning words that you'll actually use. It's more fun and more relevant, and you'll remember them better because they matter to you. Step 4. Use new words immediately. There's a saying in English, use it or lose it. It means if you don't use something, you will forget it. This is very true for vocabulary. When you learn a new word or phrase, try to use it the same day. This could be by writing a sentence with it, using it in a conversation, or at least saying it to yourself in a pretend sentence. For example, imagine you just learned the phrase, "I'm looking forward to it," which means I am excited about something in the future. Use it immediately by thinking of something you are excited about. There's a holiday next week. I'm looking forward to it. Or say to a friend, I'm looking forward to the weekend. By doing this, you lock the phrase into your memory. It becomes part of your active vocabulary, not just a passive word you recognize. Speaking new words out loud is especially helpful, so even if you are alone, speak the new word in a sentence. Make it real. If you learn butterfly, you can look at a picture of a butterfly and say, the butterfly is very beautiful. The more senses and actions you involve seeing it, saying it, hearing yourself say it, the better you remember. Step 5. Review regularly with SMART techniques. Our brains are wired to forget things that we don't review. To keep vocabulary in your memory, you should review new words periodically. One of the best methods is called spaced repetition. This is a system where you review a word more often when it's new, and then gradually less often as you remember it better. For example, you might review a new word after 1 day, then 3 days later, then a week later, then 2 weeks later, and so on. This technique helps move words from short-term memory to long-term memory. You can use flashcard apps that have spaced repetition built in, such as Anki or Quizlet, or you can make your own flashcards. The key point is to have a regular schedule to revisit vocabulary. Even just 5 to 10 minutes a day of reviewing words can make a big difference. And remember, when you review, always say the example phrase or sentence, not just the isolated word. For instance, don't just have a card that says book something you read. Instead, have a card or note that says, I'm reading a good book right now. From that sentence, you remember the word book, and you also see how it's used. This is much more effective. Your 10-minute daily vocabulary routine. Here's a simple plan you can follow each day to grow and maintain your vocabulary. Minutes 1 to 2. Quickly review 5 to 10 words or phrases you learned recently, for example, yesterday. Look at your list or flashcards and test yourself. Minutes 3 to 5. Learn 2 or 3 new words, or better yet, new phrases that are relevant to you. Maybe you heard a new phrase in a show or you found one from a frequency list that you need. Minutes 6 to 7. Say each new word or phrase out loud in a sentence. If the phrase is take a break, you might say, I will take a break at 3 p.m. Minutes 8:10. Write a very short diary entry or a few sentences using the new words, even if it's simple. Example: Today I'm feeling a bit tired, but I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'll probably read a good book and relax at home. This routine reinforces old words, introduces a few new ones, and forces you to use them by speaking and writing. It's efficient and can be done in just 10 minutes. Final thoughts on vocabulary. You do not need to become a walking dictionary. Your goal is to be able to communicate in real life. That means knowing enough words to say what you want to say and to understand what others say. It's much better to know 1,000 words that you can actually use confidently than to know 10,000 words but hesitate to speak. So, focus on the most common and useful vocabulary first. Learn phrases instead of isolated words. Make the vocabulary personal to your life. Use the new words actively and review them regularly. This is the 80-20 rule in action. By learning less but learning smarter, you'll reach fluency faster and enjoy the process more. You're not trying to become a walking dictionary. You're becoming a confident communicator, someone who uses English in real life for real goals, and that's what matters most. Now that we've covered vocabulary, let's move on to something that many people fear: grammar. But don't worry, in the next chapter, you'll discover how to learn grammar in a simple, natural way without pain or confusion. It's time to make grammar your friend, not your enemy. Chapter 6. Grammar without the pain. Learn it like a native. Let's be honest. For most English learners, the word grammar brings a feeling of fear or frustration. You might think of verb tenses, conjugations changing verb forms like go and gone, prepositions in, on, at, irregular verbs, and so on. The rules can seem endless and the exceptions even more confusing. You may have asked yourself questions like, do I really need to study all this grammar to speak English? Why does English grammar feel so difficult? Can I become fluent without learning hundreds of rules? Here is the truth. Yes, grammar is important for making correct sentences. But no, you don't need to torture yourself with grammar to speak English fluently. You can learn grammar in a simple, natural way, much like how native speakers and babies learn it. You don't have to memorize every rule or drill endless exercises to get it right. What is grammar really? Let's take the fear out of the word grammar. Grammar is not a monster or a magic formula. It's simply the system of a language, how we put words together to express meaning. Think of grammar as the patterns behind the language. For example, consider these grammar points. Word order. In English, we say I eat pizza, not pizza eat I. The order of subject to object is part of grammar. Verb tenses. I go, present versus I went, past versus I will go, future. These forms tell us when something happens. Articles, prepositions, using words like a, the, or on, in, at, in the right places is grammar too. You use grammar every time you speak any language, even your native language, without thinking about it. So why does English grammar sometimes feel so hard when you study it? Often it's because traditional learning tries to make you understand all the rules before you have enough experience using the language. But native speakers do the opposite. They use the language first, and maybe much later in school they learn the rules formally, if ever. We can follow a similar path for learning English grammar naturally. The problem with traditional grammar study. Many of us have been taught grammar by using textbooks full of complex charts and long explanations. You might have seen sentences like this in a grammar book. The present perfect continuous tense is used to express an action that began in the past and continues into the present, typically using have as been verbing. Confusing, right? A lot of native English speakers don't even know this terminology. Now compare that with simply hearing and using a sentence like, I have been learning English for 2 months. If you say this sentence, you are using the present perfect continuous correctly, even if you didn't know it was called that. The example is much easier to understand than the abstract rule. This shows that instead of learning the rule first, it's often better to learn through examples. Use the language, and later the rule will click because you've already experienced it in action. Learn grammar like a child. Think about how children learn grammar when they acquire their first language. They don't sit down with grammar books. They don't ask, is this the correct verb tense? They simply listen, copy, and eventually speak. For instance, a child will hear, he's eating many times. They might first say, he eating, which is a mistake, but eventually they naturally start saying he's eating as they hear it over and over. Children make grammar mistakes, but they gradually self-correct over time because they get lots of exposure to the language. Your brain as an adult works in a similar way. You can absorb the patterns of English by seeing and hearing them often, and by using them. You don't have to learn every rule explicitly. You can internalize the rules through practice. That's how native speakers do it, and you can too. So let's look at some simple techniques to learn grammar naturally without drowning in rules. 5 techniques to absorb grammar. No painful rules required. Learn grammar through phrases, not rules. Instead of memorizing abstract rules, focus on learning whole correct example sentences or phrases. Grammar lives in real sentences. For example, rather than studying a chart of past tense verb endings, just learn a few useful past tense sentences. I worked yesterday. She called me last night. We played soccer after school. Use and repeat these. Your brain will start to see the pattern most past tense verbs end in ed on its own. You didn't have to memorize add ed first. You noticed it from examples. Get lots of correct English input. Input means the English you take in by listening and reading. Make sure you're getting input that's mostly correct, like from reliable sources or simplified English books, and just a little above your current level. This could be listening to an audiobook like this one, watching a YouTube video or Netflix show with accurate English subtitles, or reading simple English stories or news. When you regularly see and hear proper English sentences, you will start to copy them naturally. You might not know the rule's name, but you'll be using it correctly. Practice by speaking and writing. Use whatever grammar you are learning or have absorbed by actually producing English. This can be as simple as talking to yourself or writing a short diary entry each day. For example, write in a journal. Today, I didn't go to work. I stayed home and watched a movie. It was relaxing. In those 3 sentences, you have used past tense didn't go, stayed, watched, a negation didn't, and sequence words today, etc., without thinking about grammar terms. If you do a little writing or speaking, even just a few sentences, you give yourself a chance to practice using grammar in context. You can then check if it sounds right or if maybe something needs to be different. Focus on one pattern at a time. Don't try to tackle all of English grammar at once. Pick one grammar pattern and practice it for a few days. For instance, you might focus on the present continuous tense, the ing form for ongoing actions. For a couple of days, try to use sentences like I am ing for different verbs. I'm eating, I'm reading, I'm learning English, I'm working right now. Use these repeatedly until they feel natural. Then move on to another pattern. Think of it like building with Lego blocks. Put one block pattern in place securely before adding the next. Embrace mistakes as part of learning. Many learners fear making grammar mistakes. But remember what we said about mistakes being good? This applies to grammar too. If you say something and make a grammar error, it's actually an opportunity. Maybe someone will correct you, or you will realize it sounded odd and correct yourself. Each time you fix a mistake, your brain gets a little better at English. So don't be afraid to say a sentence because you're unsure if it's grammatically perfect. Give it a try. Communication comes first, and you can always adjust as you learn. Essential grammar basics to focus on first. Not all grammar points are equal. Some are used all the time in daily conversation, while others are very rare or for formal situations. When you're starting out and even at intermediate level, it's wise to focus on the core grammar that will give you the biggest boost. For example, present simple tense, talking about habits or facts, e.g., I eat rice every day. She lives in Canada. Present continuous tense, describing ongoing actions, e.g., I am eating lunch right now. He is working at the moment. Past simple tense, talking about finished actions in the past, e.g., I went to the store yesterday. They saw a movie last week. Basic future forms, using going to or will to talk about the future, e.g., I'm going to travel next month. I will call you later. Question forms, e.g., where are you? What did you say? Can you help me? Negatives, e.g., I don't know. She didn't go. We can't come. Modal verbs, like can, should, must, for ability, advice, necessity, e.g., I can speak English. You should try this. I must leave now. Focus on getting comfortable with these core areas first. If you can handle these, you'll be able to express a lot of ideas. The more advanced grammar, like complex conditional sentences or very formal tenses, can come later naturally as you become more advanced and as you encounter them. Quick daily grammar practice 10 minutes. You don't need long, boring grammar sessions. Here's a simple routine to keep your grammar skills improving steadily. Minutes 1 to 2. Pick one sentence structure or grammar point to focus on today. For example, I'm going to Hokkaido. The going to future form. Minutes 3 to 5. Take that structure and say it with different endings. I'm going to eat. I'm going to study. I'm going to relax. Say each sentence out loud. Minute 6 to 7. Write down 3 original sentences using that same pattern. For instance, I'm going to call my friend tonight. I'm going to start a new book. I'm going to exercise after work. Writing helps reinforce the pattern. Minutes 8 to 10. Read the sentences you wrote out loud, first slowly, then at a more natural speed. This will help you both remember the pattern and be able to say it comfortably. That's it. A short, focused practice like this can be more effective than an hour of just reading grammar theory. You're actually using the grammar. Final thoughts on grammar. You don't need to become a grammar professor or memorize every tense and rule. Instead, surround yourself with English so you absorb grammar naturally. Practice speaking and writing in simple ways and learn common patterns. If you make a mistake, no big deal. Correct it if you can, or just keep going and you'll get it over time. The goal is communication, not perfection. If people understand you and you understand them, you're succeeding. Over time, as you listen and read more, you'll find that even advanced grammar starts to sound right or sound wrong to you, just like it does for native speakers. That's when you're really internalizing the language. You are already learning grammar the natural way right now by listening to this and practicing. So take a breath, relax, and trust the process. You are doing great. Now that we've taken the stress out of grammar, let's tackle another important part of fluency: pronunciation and accent. In the next chapter, we'll work on how to make your English sound clear and natural, so others can understand you easily and you can feel confident speaking. Let's continue. Chapter 7. Pronunciation and accent sound. Clear and confident. Pronunciation is an area many learners ignore at first, but it's one of the most important keys to being understood in English. Imagine this. You have learned lots of words, you know basic grammar, and you can understand English pretty well. But when you speak, people keep asking you to repeat yourself, or they look confused. That can be very frustrating and hurt your confidence. That's why improving your pronunciation matters. Good pronunciation will help others understand you clearly. Feel confident speaking. Build better connections with native speakers. And avoid misunderstandings and confusion. You won't have to repeat yourself as much, and you'll feel more relaxed speaking. Now, let's be clear. The goal is not to erase your accent completely or sound exactly like a native British or American speaker. Your accent is part of your identity. That's beautiful. The goal is to sound clear and natural so people can focus on your message, not your accent. Think of it this way. You want people to notice what you're saying, not notice how you're saying it. Accent is fine. Clarity is key. Pronunciation is a skill you can improve, and it's worth the effort. English has many sounds, some that might not exist in your native language. For example, the I sound in think unvoiced, as in thing, or this voiced, as in this might be new to you. The difference between short and long vowels, e.g., ship short, I versus sheep. Long E can be tricky. The ending sounds like ed in past tense verbs. The ed in walked sounds like a T walked, not like ed. Mastering these sounds makes your speech clearer. 3 steps to improve your pronunciation. Listen closely and watch. Use your trained ears from Chapter 2. Listen to native speakers carefully. Pay attention to how they move their mouth, how their tongue touches the teeth, the rhythm and stress in their sentences. If you can, watch videos where the speaker's face is visible, so you see how they form sounds. For example, when saying think, you should see the tongue between the teeth for the ik touch sound. When saying water, an American might not clearly pronounce the T, it sounds like water. These details are important. You can also use slow pronunciation videos or language learning apps that pronounce words clearly. Let your ears and eyes guide you to notice the differences. Practice mouth movements. English pronunciation depends a lot on how you move your mouth and tongue. Think of it like the physical exercise part of speaking. Try this. Say the word think. That sound. Put your tongue between your teeth slightly and blow air. Now say sink. Sound. The tongue stays inside behind your teeth. They sound similar but are different. Try another. Say walked. Did you pronounce the ending? It should sound like walked with just a T sound at the end. Practice difficult sounds in front of a mirror. Watch yourself say this, R, or V sounds. Exaggerate them if needed. You're training your mouth muscles, which may need to move in new ways for English. It might feel weird, but it's effective. Shadow speaking. Again, remember shadowing from earlier chapters. It works wonders here too. Listen to a native speaker and repeat immediately. Focus on matching sounds, intonation the rise and fall of your voice, and rhythm the musical flow of the sentence. Think of yourself as an actor doing an impression. If the speaker's voice goes up at the end, yours does too. If they pause, you pause. This will help your speech sound more natural. It also improves things like linking words and stress, which syllables are emphasized. For example, take the sentence, she thinks that this is the best idea. Notice how she has a esh sound, thinks, and this both have the eth slightly different. One is unvoiced, one voiced, and the natural stress falls on best idea. Shadowing such a sentence, you mimic all these little details. Let's break down that example. She thinks that this is the best idea. If your native language doesn't have a th sound, this sentence gives you 2 in a row to practice. It also has a nice rhythm. Best idea has the stress on best, and then a fall on idea. Shadow the sentence, repeating it with focus on sounds and rhythm. Example sentence aside, the general point is, find sentences that challenge your pronunciation and shadow them. Common pronunciation challenges. Depending on your first language, you might struggle with certain sounds. It could be L versus R for some Asian language speakers, or B versus V for some Spanish speakers, or ending consonants like in rice versus rise. Identify 1 or 2 of your weak sounds and focus on them using the steps above. A short daily pronunciation workout, 10 minutes. You can improve pronunciation with a quick daily practice. Here's a routine to try. Minutes 1 to 3. Listen to a short sentence or phrase carefully. Choose one that has some sounds you find tricky. It could be a line from a movie or a phrase from this audiobook. For example, thank you for everything, which has the and R sounds. Minutes 4 to 6. Practice mouth movements for the tricky sounds in that sentence. Say them slowly and clearly. Using the example, practice thank tongue out for the us. You. 4. Everything. Make sure to pronounce the V clearly and the theash at the end. Break the sentence into parts and say each part, focusing on the sound. Minutes 7 to 10. Shadow the sentence, repeating it with focus on sounds and rhythm. First, shadow it slowly, then at natural speed. Record yourself if you can and listen back. Do you sound close to the original? If a certain word still sounds off, repeat that word a few times on its own, then shadow the whole sentence again. For example, with thank you for everything, you might notice your thish in thank sounds like sank. So you practice the thank slowly, then continue thank you. Maybe you drop the YY sound, fix that. For everything, maybe you have to practice everything to get the V and thish right. After focusing, shadow the whole sentence. Little by little, it gets better. This small exercise combines listening, analysis, and speaking. Over time, doing this with different sentences will sharpen your overall pronunciation. Other tips. Use online dictionaries that have audio and repeat words after the native speaker voice. Try tongue twisters funny. challenging sentences in English that focus on one sound, e.g., 33 thirsty thieves, lots of th sounds, or red lorry, yellow lorry practices R and L. Don't be shy to speak up. Sometimes unclear pronunciation comes from mumbling or speaking too softly. Articulate clearly, even if it feels a bit exaggerated. Be patient. Pronunciation changes come with time and repetition. But each time you improve a little, maybe someone understands a word on first try that they use to ask you to repeat. Celebrate it. Remember that improvement in pronunciation comes gradually. You might not notice changes day to day, but after a few weeks of practice, you will likely find that some words sound easier for you to say, or others understand you better on the first try. That's real progress. And with clearer speech, you'll also feel a boost in confidence. You'll be able to speak up in group discussions or presentations without as much worry about whether people can understand you. Your voice will carry your message strongly, so keep practicing those sounds. Be patient and persistent. Your English will sound clearer and more natural, and with that clarity comes confidence. So practice patiently. Listen deeply. Speak boldly. Your voice is powerful. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to keep motivated and consistent. The final secret to reaching your English fluency goal. Ready to keep going? Chapter 8. Motivation and Consistency. The keys to long-term success. Learning English is a journey. And like any journey, it has ups and downs. There will be days when you feel unstoppable, full of energy, and ready to conquer the world with your new language skills. But there will also be days when motivation feels low. You might feel tired, distracted, or frustrated. You may wonder, is this even worth it? This chapter is about how to stay motivated and consistent, because those are the real secrets to long-term fluency. Why motivation matters. Motivation is the fuel that keeps your learning engine running. Without motivation, you may start strong but burn out quickly. You'll struggle to practice regularly. Progress will be slow and frustration will grow. With motivation, you'll show up even when it's hard. You'll push through challenges. You'll celebrate small wins and keep going. Let's look at 3 types of motivation to understand motivation better. Internal motivation. Intrinsic. This comes from within. You learn because you love English. You enjoy the challenge. You want to connect with others or understand movies without subtitles. This motivation is the strongest and most lasting. Ask yourself, what do I love about English? Why do I want to learn it? Find your personal why. Keep it close. External motivation. Extrinsic. This comes from outside. Maybe you need English for a job, school, or travel. Maybe someone told you to learn it. External motivation can get you started, but it's less powerful long term. Use it wisely as a push when you need it, but don't rely on it alone. Social motivation. Humans are social creatures. Being part of a group or community can motivate you. Join English clubs, classes, or online groups. Practice with friends or language partners. Sharing your journey helps keep motivation alive. How to build consistency. Motivation gets you started. Consistency keeps you going. Here's how to build habits that last. Start small. Don't aim for hours of study right away. Even 5 to 10 minutes a day adds up. Small daily actions are easier to keep consistent than rare long sessions. Create a routine. Pick a regular time to practice morning, lunch break, or before bed. Make it part of your daily schedule. The more automatic it becomes, the less effort it takes. Set clear goals. Goals give you direction and focus. Instead of vague goals like learn English, choose learn 10 new words this week. Watch one English video every day. Speak English for 5 minutes daily. Track your progress. Celebrate wins. Use reminders and triggers. Set alarms, sticky notes, or app notifications to remind you. Link learning to existing habits. After I brush my teeth, I'll practice speaking for 5 minutes. Case at dealing with challenges. Obstacles are normal. Here's how to handle them. Burnout. Take short breaks. Change your learning method. Try games, music, or podcasts. Frustration. Remember, progress takes time. Review how far you've come. Distractions. Find a quiet space. Turn off notifications. Use focus timers. Lack of progress. Adjust your goals. Focus on communication, not perfection. The power of positive reinforcement. Reward yourself when you hit milestones. Example rewards. Watch a favorite show in English. Treat yourself to something nice. Share your success with friends. Positive reinforcement makes learning enjoyable and sustainable. Building a growth mindset. Believe that your English skills can improve with effort. Replace thoughts like, I'm not good at English with, I'm getting better every day. A growth mindset helps you embrace mistakes as learning opportunities, not failures. Saugstehen ein. Your 10-minute daily motivation routine. Here's a quick routine to keep your motivation strong. Minute 1. Remind yourself why you're learning English. Think of your personal why or write it down. Minutes 2 to 5. Practice a skill you enjoy speaking, listening, reading something that makes you happy in English. Minutes 6 to 8. Reflect on progress. Write or say one thing you've improved. E.g., I can understand English songs better now. Minutes 9 to 10. Set a small goal for tomorrow. Auji, tomorrow I will learn 5 new words about food. Final thoughts. English fluency is a marathon, not a sprint. Motivation lights the fire. Consistency feeds the flame. With both, you'll keep moving forward even when the path gets tough. Remember, every word you learn, every sentence you speak, every moment you listen is a step closer to your goal. You've come so far already. Keep going. Your English future is bright. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to make English a natural part of your daily life, so learning becomes effortless and fun. Ready to keep your momentum going? Chapter 9. Immersion Living English Every Day. Welcome to Chapter 9. By now, you've built a strong foundation. You understand how to think in English, speak confidently, learn the right vocabulary, and stay motivated. The next secret to rapid fluency is simple. Surround yourself with English all day, every day. This is called immersion. Immersion means living in an English environment, so your brain naturally absorbs the language just like a child does. But don't worry if you're not in an English-speaking country. You can create immersion wherever you are. Text. Why immersion works. When you're surrounded by English, your brain constantly processes English input reading, listening, and even thinking. You start understanding natural speech patterns, slang, and real-life expressions. You see English used in real context, making it easier to remember and use yourself. You get more chances to practice speaking and writing. Immersion speeds up learning because it forces your brain to adapt and use English actively. How to create an immersion environment. Even if you live in a non-English speaking country, you can build an English bubble around you. Here's how. Change your devices to English. Switch your phone, computer and apps to English. This small step makes you see and use English every time you interact with technology. Watch English media every day. Choose movies, TV shows, YouTube channels, or podcasts in English. Start with subtitles if you need, then try without them. Pick topics you love. It makes immersion enjoyable, not a chore. Read in English. Read books, news, blogs, or comics that interest you. Start with simple material, then challenge yourself. Try to read a little every day. Even 5 minutes helps. Speak English daily. Find a language partner or join online conversation groups. If you don't have a partner, talk to yourself out loud. Narrate your actions, tell stories, or repeat dialogues. Label your environment. Put sticky notes with English words on objects around your home or office. For example, door, window, chair, refrigerator. This reinforces vocabulary and context. Dit, using technology for immersion. Technology makes immersion easier than ever. Try these tools. Language learning apps with daily practice reminders, English podcasts and audiobooks during your commute, YouTube videos on topics you enjoy, social media following English-speaking creators, online forums where you can read and write in English. Use headphones to listen actively and repeat phrases. Immersion tips for busy people. No matter how busy you are, you can fit immersion into your life. Try these small habits. Listen to an English podcast during exercise or chores. Read English news headlines in the morning. Write a quick English diary entry before bed. Set your phone to English for short daily exposure. Watch a favorite English show while relaxing. Even 10 minutes a day makes a difference. Overcoming common immersion challenges. Sometimes immersion feels overwhelming or frustrating. Here's how to manage: too hard to understand, choose simple materials or use subtitles. Feeling bored? Pick topics or genres you love. Lack of time? Break sessions into 5-minute chunks. Fear of mistakes? Remember, immersion is about input and exposure, not perfection. Be patient with yourself. Immersion turns learning from a task into a lifestyle. By surrounding yourself with English, you create endless opportunities to improve without stress or pressure. You're no longer studying a language, you're living it. Keep building your English world, and fluency will follow. In the final chapter, we'll explore how to make English learning fun and creative. Because joy is the best motivator of all. Ready to make learning exciting? Chapter 10. Making learning fun, creative ways to enjoy English every day. Welcome to the final chapter of this audiobook. Learning a new language can sometimes feel like a long, serious journey, but it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, one of the biggest secrets to success is having fun along the way. When you enjoy your learning, everything changes. You stay motivated longer. You remember words and grammar better. You look forward to practicing every day. So, in this chapter, we'll explore creative, fun ways to bring English into your life. Turning study into play. Why fun is essential for learning. Fun releases dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. When dopamine flows, your brain forms stronger memories and connections. That means when you have fun learning English, you actually learn faster and better. Fun keeps stress away too, and less stress means clearer thinking and faster progress. 5 fun ways to learn English. Here are some ideas to spark your creativity. Play language games. Games make learning feel like a challenge, not a chore. Try word puzzles and crosswords, mobile apps with gamified lessons, flashcard games like Memory Match. Scrabble or boggle in English with friends. Competition and play motivate your brain to focus and learn. Watch movies and TV shows you love. Pick your favorite genres: comedy, drama, thriller, or even cartoons. Watch with subtitles first, then without. Try to repeat funny or interesting lines aloud. This helps with pronunciation, vocabulary, and understanding natural speech. Sing along to songs. Music is a powerful tool for language learning. Find English songs you like. Look up the lyrics. Sing along. This improves pronunciation, rhythm, and vocabulary, all while having a blast. Create stories and write your own. Use your imagination to make stories in English. Write short paragraphs or even dialogues. Try to include new words and phrases you've learned. This helps your brain connect vocabulary and grammar in a meaningful way. Join social media and online communities. Follow English-speaking creators on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. Comment, ask questions, or share your own thoughts in English. Being part of a community makes learning social and fun. Using humor to boost learning. Laughter helps you relax and absorb more. Try watching stand-up comedy or funny sketches in English. Share jokes with friends or language partners. Don't worry if you don't understand every word. The rhythm, tone, and gestures help you get the meaning. Humor connects you emotionally to the language. Personalize your learning fun. Think about your hobbies and interests. Love cooking? Follow English cooking channels or recipes. Enjoy sports? Watch games and learn sports terms in English. Into fashion, technology, or travel? Find English content in those areas. Learning what you love keeps things exciting. Mix it up. Variety keeps learning fresh. Avoid boredom by mixing different activities. One day watch a movie. Next day, play a word game, then write a journal entry, followed by listening to a podcast. Variety challenges your brain and keeps your curiosity alive. Fun daily English routine. 10 minutes. Try this playful daily practice, minutes 1 to 3. Play a word or flashcard game, minutes 4 to 6. Watch a short English video or listen to a song, minutes 7 to 8. Sing or repeat lines from the video song, minutes 9 to 10. Write a short creative sentence or story with new words. Final thoughts. Learning English is a wonderful adventure. When you add fun and creativity, it becomes a joy, not a task. Remember, the best learners are those who enjoy the process as much as the goal. You now have the tools, techniques, and mindset to continue your journey with passion and ease. Keep exploring, keep playing, keep speaking. Fluency is not just about knowing English, it's about loving English. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Conclusion. Congratulations. You've reached the end of this audiobook. What an incredible journey it has been. Think about everything we've covered and everything you've accomplished along the way. You built a strong mindset and learned the best ways to approach English, focusing on listening, speaking, real usage, and not fearing mistakes. You trained your ears to understand natural, fast English. You found your voice in English and learned how to speak confidently. Even if it's not perfect, you practice thinking in English, reducing the need to translate and speeding up your responses. You discovered how to expand your vocabulary wisely, focusing on the most useful words and phrases. You learned to handle grammar the easy way by absorbing it naturally rather than drowning in rules or confusion. You improved your pronunciation, making your speech clearer and more confident. You found ways to stay motivated and consistent, building habits that keep you moving forward. You created an English environment around you, immersing yourself in the language every day. And you remembered to have fun and be creative, turning learning into an enjoyable adventure. That's a lot of progress. You now have all the tools, techniques, and the right mindset to continue your journey with passion and ease. But remember, reaching fluency isn't a distant goal. It's a daily practice. It's a mindset. It's a way of living English every day. There will be challenges ahead, but with patience and persistence, you'll overcome them. Every small step adds up to big progress. Keep practicing. Keep listening. Keep speaking. And most importantly, keep enjoying the process. Your voice matters. Your story matters. English is just a bridge to connect you to the world. Thank you for trusting me to guide you on this path. I'm excited for all the amazing places your English skills will take you. Until next time, keep speaking with confidence, listening with curiosity, and learning with joy. Good luck and happy learning.